Welcome to another episode of Ask a Brother podcast. I'm your host, Jeff St. James, and we're going to have a whole host of different people from different backgrounds coming in because it really is about building a community of like-minded people that's just open to listening and hearing from other perspectives. The revolution is going to be because of us. What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ask a Brother podcast. I'm your host, Jeff St. James. And as you see, I'm not alone. We got some distinguished guests on the platform, and we may have some additional ladies pulling up as we speak. Sounds like Grace has an echo. But as you see, we have some ladies on the screen, and I wanted to do something different when it came to just a different type of panel format. I think what I'm going to do initially is one sec. Studio. There we go. What I'm going to do first is introduce all of our ladies, or allow them to introduce themselves, and then I actually explain what this ladies' night panel is going to be about. So for starters, Melanin, why don't you let everybody know who you are, where you're from? How about this? Say your name or your nickname, where you from, if you got any kids, and if you're single. I think everybody that's watching going to want to know that information. So there y'all go. So go ahead, Melanie, you go first.
So one of my things that I don't do on public platforms is personal life.
Cool.
So I am Melanin Legacy, and I can be found on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I think I've been in this space for about a year, just enjoying conversations. And thank you for inviting me.
Heck yeah. Welcome to the platform. What about you, Miss Shan Monet?
Hi, I am Shan Monet. I don't mind telling you I'm from Alabama, but I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm not really a what's the word? If you find my Instagram, I'll accept you, but I don't like to just get on here and say what it is. How about
that? Okay. And Grace, if you're ready, you can feel free to unmute. I think you're good to go.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, so that's just my Instagram name. I personally am not disclosing my real name, but yes, I'm single and no children. And yeah, I'm glad to be on the podcast tonight.
Awesome. So real quick, everybody that's currently watching, if you haven't done so, feel free to share this with at least 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 people. Absolutely want y'all to kind of get it out. Send this to all other people that you know, and definitely send it to the ladies. This is an opportunity. And also, I'm going to post, as we're having a conversation, opportunity for additional ladies, if they're open to joining the platform as well. So I'm actually going to post it in the chat as we speak. All that we ask is something very simple, that you actually have good faith. I'm not big on debating. I don't like to argue in my real everyday life. So I don't want to start doing it on panels. It's actually not fun. It's a little exhausting for me personally. So when you come on, you can ask almost any and every question imaginable. This is the opportunity where it's a safe space where you can put a question out, not be shouted down, not be called stupid. Well, listen, if you ask me a stupid question, I'm gonna let you know if it's dumb. But the point is, it's just a spot where Black men and Black women can be on screen together and actually hear each other. My background, for those who don't know who I am, I'm a licensed professional therapist as of now. I don't know if I'm going to be renewing my license, about to be transitioning into coaching. Been doing it for over 12 years, worked in prisons, schools, and outpatient settings, hired quite a few people, managed multi-million-dollar budgets, and became a executive member of the largest mental health nonprofit in Philadelphia, all the way up to this year as I'm now doing this full time. And also a trauma certified consultant and trainer. So I know a little bit, some stuff. And also I'm Black and married and have a Black daughter as well. So, and I've been in an interracial relationship in the past. So I kind of have a full gambit of different experience, both personal and professional. And like I said before, I want this to be an open air. Sorry, that sounds like it was just me. This is just the opportunity for y'all to be able to ask your questions, finally be able to just hear each other and hear and see what's maybe the disconnect between a lot of men and women, especially Black men and Black women. So again, everybody, make sure you like this wherever you're watching it from. Make sure you share this with a few people and definitely send it to the ladies that are in your life. And again, people are more than welcome to join if they see fit. All right. So for starters, I'm going to start with you, Melanin. of the different questions that you may have wanted to ask, which one did you want to throw out there to start with to kind of get us on?
I would want to ask you, what is something that every man should experience and why?
What is something that every man should experience and why? Before I throw that out there, why do you think that's important?
I think it's important because we always have young men that's listening, someone that might be out there that doesn't have someone to speak to. So anytime that we can create a video, a clip, a podcast to where a man is able to get the things that he needs, it's important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I definitely have an answer to that. But before I answer it, I'm interested in all three of you to Melanie's initial question. What are the things you're saying? What is it that they need to experience? Right? What is something that every man should experience? Shane, Monet, Melanin, and Grace, what do you think that thing or things are that every man should experience?
If I have to pick one, I would say that they would have to experience living solo. No help from family, no girlfriend, nothing, just in a place where you're just in a grind mode, figuring out your purpose, who you are, and where you want to go in life.
Interesting. What y'all think about that? Every man needs to have lived on his own before he really is ready to take on everything else that comes with life. What y'all think about that?
I would agree. I don't have any objections to that on the surface. I think that's very important for a man to experience just self-sufficiency and being able to sustain himself before he takes on a bigger responsibility of leading a household. So yeah, no disagreements for me.
And what about you, Shamane?
I was not ready for this question. But I guess I would like, I know it's kind of hard to do this though for men and women alike, but I think that it's important to have an idea of what it is that you want, a vision, whether it be your career path or even what you want in a mate romantically, before you go out. Just an idea. It doesn't have to be, solid, because obviously experiences, teach you, to alter those things. But I do think you should have somewhat of maybe a baseline of what it is that you want out of life, your path.
Yeah, I feel like both of those are absolutely true to a degree. I don't think that living on your own in and of itself prepares you for, and there's a way in which if you've lived too long on your own, you're used to doing things on your terms. And I think sometimes it can have an inverse effect where I do agree that living with someone other than your immediate family and knowing how to do that, a lot of people first experience that in college or having roommates post, becoming an adult. And when you're used to figuring out how to live with somebody other than mom or dad or your siblings, I think that's as equally important than, just living on your own. Because I think that general experience of just being outside of your houses outside of your home with your parents can absolutely be helpful. And with Chamonix, what you said in terms of finding his purpose, his career, his passion, I definitely agree with. But if I had to list a few things that I could imagine that I think every man absolutely needs to experience, the first is that I think men have to accept that hyper independence isn't healthy for men long term either. Believe it or not, a lot of men are pushing men right now to just be on their own and not see the need of relationships or other people or even other women. And we're warning women about hyper independence and how that life can be harder, and how and a lot of pitfalls that they're probably going to make as a result of trying to be hyper independent all the time. They're going to miss the benefits of relationships, connections, quality. Like they're going to miss certain things when when you have these guys that like never can settle down, never can do life with anybody, doesn't want to be relying on anyone for anything. That's not healthy either, and it's not healthy just because a man's doing it. And I think a lot of guys view that as very unattractive, unappealing, and not healthy or toxic when a woman is hyper independent. I think there's a version of that too, that every man needs to experience not operating in that. He needs to accept that hyper independence long term actually isn't helpful for men either. Um, the second I would throw out there, and I want to know what y'all think about this. I think every man should experience what it's like to be with a woman that doesn't feel like she settled for him. When I listen to these podcasts, when I hear what women have to say, when I look at what women aim for when they were younger and have more options than who they settled for in the end, I think every man should at least get one opportunity. If he's healthy and putting himself in position to do so, I think every man should at least get one opportunity to know what it's like to be with a woman that doesn't feel like she settled for him. What y'all think?
I think that's great. I think that's who he should end up marrying. Not just experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's wild is I don't know that a lot of people, let alone a lot of ladies, have ever thought about the idea of how many men have never actually experienced that.
Do you think women care?
I think they, yeah, I don't think women don't care. I think women care. I think that, so what I see, because I deal with a lot of people in their teenage years and going into adulthood. I see people who have people who love them. They just don't want that person. You understand? I think that it's just one of those things where you have somebody who loves you, but it's just not the person that you want to love you, if that makes any sense. Like the girl who likes you, you don't like them back.
Okay.
So I see a lot of that.
And what about you, Grace? What do you think?
I actually agree with you. I don't think women are intentionally ignoring the fact that most men are never genuinely desired. I think they just don't know. So I fully agree with you that I think a good man should try to have a relationship with a woman that genuinely desires him. And I know that's not very common. So I hope that's something that does change. But I do agree. And I think when women learn that, I think for those women who are in relationships with men they genuinely want to be with, they would do better to improve that.
Dope. And I'll even throw this one out there. Having genuine male and female friendships. Extremely underrated. I think what's happened is people have a tendency to cross lines and boundaries. People avoid them altogether. And then as a result, you end up what we see on social media, where people literally, I think what happens is if you maintain really good quality, meaningful friendships with both men and women, it kind of prevents your heart from hardening with the sex that you don't get along with or don't like or have issues with. The men that tend to hate women typically don't have them as friends. Like typically a lot of times. And even and a lot of the women who swear up and down that they can't stand men and they hate men, the only men they're dealing with are ones that they sleep with and have these toxic situations with, and gay ones. So when you maintain really good, healthy, quality friendships with both men and women, it kind of keeps you from going too far to either extreme. So I think every man needs to experience that. And I know a lot of guys that don't see the benefits of it. They don't see a point. I do. So much so that I actually had two women that were in my side of the party on my side of my wedding, part of my bridegroom, so to speak, because they were all of them were friends of mine since freshman year of high school, which was now over 20 years ago. So yeah, like it means something. And then lastly, I think for men, all men probably need to experience being seen. And I think we take that for granted and what that actually means and looks like. When you drive to fill up your gas, when you go to a fancy restaurant where they're taking your keys, to park the car or whatever, the bellhop, so to speak, the cashier, most men that you actually are around are invisible to most women. And I think a lot of men are actually invisible. And the only thing they hear about on social media is the men that women are dealing with. There's men that's not an issue. That's not an actual real lived experience like that. And I would even argue, even for the men that are quote unquote seen, they're typically seen for what they can do or produce, not for who they are. So, you know, when that was, I think that was a great question, Melanin, about like, what is it something that every man should experience? So those are the ones I came up with. I don't know if you all have any additional ones. But Philip Sadiq, starting us off, appreciate you, bro, for the $5 for sure. And everybody, if you're currently watching and haven't done so, make sure you like, make sure that you share, and make sure to feel free to hit that super chat button if you have any questions or comments that you want us to work through. So Share Monet, you know, we haven't always agreed on certain things. I know we shared a platform at one time on the piece.
I didn't have a problem with you on Lapeef. I actually agreed with most of the things that you said on Lapeef, so that's not, you know, but.
Okay. But listen, I've seen you in the comments, so I knew this day was coming.
Look, I just cannot stand. And I guess that would be my. I kind of didn't want to go away from the relationship. Since she asked the relationship question, I think that I think my frustration comes when I'm a reader, right? Mm-hmm. And so when people, you know, may say stat, and it may not be you, it could be like the people who are on your panel or whatever. I can't remember. But when people read or they don't articulate stats correctly, and I think that becomes, you know. That's my pet peeve. So I'll be in your comment section like, that's incorrect.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I apologize. But
nah, you good. So again, so what's your initial question you want to throw out there, Don?
I mean, since we're talking about that, I think that I'm almost thinking when it comes to certain stats, I think I wrote it down. Y'all, these are my daughter's glasses, and she's 10. I couldn't find mine, and I can't see. Pray for me. Okay, so let me go to the question. One of the questions was about. I want to go. I think it's. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna skip over because I just brought that up. Do you think that? Oh gosh, what is that one? So basically, I'm just gonna sum it up. So when it comes to stats, right? And I hear people. I don't know if people are just not going back to read the information themselves. And it's almost like misinformation that just keeps on being put on platforms. People keep reading the same information. And I just want to know, where's the miscommunication? So for example, let me give you an example.
Okay.
Like one of the ones I hear all the time is 70% of, you know, divorce. Black marriages end in divorce. Yeah. When the actual, I think that what they're trying to say is 70% of the time women file for divorce. That's not necessarily how many end in divorce. That's just how in the percentage of divorce, 70% of that time is the woman who files a divorce. But oftentimes, as I hear, 70% of marriages end in divorce because of women. And that's just not how that stat reads, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. So a couple things. One, if your frustration is with whether or not the person behind the microphone is accurately sharing the data or accurately covering it, well, tough luck. Like, it is what it is. It sounds bad to say, but it's like, it's the nature of the beast. We can't control that, right? The secondary piece, which I'm probably more interested in about that type of question, is, do we have higher standards for normal people getting behind a microphone, giving their opinion, than the people who are listening, who's also accepting said misinformation? Because what I mean by that is, whose job is it ultimately for whether or not you're going to believe that? Is it the person who's saying it, or is it the job as an adult to confirm whether or not it's legit? And I think we do that. We do a very intellectually lazy thing where, because we heard it on CNN or Fox News or our favorite influencer said it, it's either gospel because we agree with them, or it's wrong because we don't like them. And either way, there's a level above that, which is, I don't care what your credentials are. I actually don't care whether you sound confident. I'm going to look in it on myself if I'm truly interested to know if that's true or not. And that's the piece where it's like, we can put it on the content creators and people on platforms or whatever. You're an adult. Nobody's telling you to believe it. Nobody's telling, like, you can say, oh, it's influencing the children. It doesn't have to influence you. Sure. So, right. So as an adult, I think sometimes we raise standards for the people that have platforms, rightfully so, but we don't even, the bar is so low for ourselves that I don't even think we realize, like, we're getting angry about things that it's a quick Google search for us.
This is a fact. So shout out to Tommy Sotomayor. He just reviewed a debate that I did, right?
Mhm.
And
Oh, I heard about that when you was cooking. Yep.
It wasn't my best work. It was not, but he reviewed it, and there were several words that were mispronounced. There were statements made in regards to people where, like, the person I was debating said it as a fact, and I just went with it because I assume, like, you're having the debate in good faith. So I definitely learned that for myself. So what you just said, I can definitely appreciate.
Yeah, and Chamonix, just to clarify, when people watch debates, you'll see it in the comment section. People are already saying who won when they haven't looked up anything. They went off of how it felt. They went off of how it sounded. It sounded like they won. They sounded more confident. They dominated the conversation. I would even argue, Chamonix, most people that are watching it don't even care if what's being said is true or not, if the person that's representing their viewpoint is saying it. They don't care. They don't care. I would there's a reason why it bothers you and not most people. To be fair. And Grace, what do you think about that topic?
I fully agree with you. It's sometimes a grating experience for me to watch panels because people just agree with what feels right to them. And so I fully agree with what you said. No qualms from me. I watch a lot of Black male studies content, Dr. T.S. Johnson and Dr. Tommy J. Curry, and they opened my eyes to so many things that I just didn't know. And so whenever I log on to Instagram, it's like I'm watching people just continue to propagate things that are just not true. And I'm just puzzled. So I just wonder, do we want to open our eyes or do you just want to keep them closed? So
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think most people, they pick their tribes, they pick their bubbles, and they keep showing up because they want they're coming for a particular perspective. There's very, very few spaces where there's like nuance. They're welcome to disagreement, wanting to be comfortable with challenging and hearing different perspectives. And part of the reason is it doesn't sell very often.
mhm,
People
mhm.
can say they want that, but a lot of people don't click on it. A lot
Yeah.
of times it doesn't go viral. People will raise standards that they won't support and won't watch, won't follow, won't engage with. It's the shocking thing. It's the thing that sounds insane that's what grabs people's attention. And as an audience, if we don't raise the standards for it, why do you think Dr. Cheyenne Bryan got as far as she did? Because she was speaking a lot of truth.
Oh,
Because
no. You call her doctor. That's very kind of you, though.
You're right. I forgot. I'm not supposed to call her that no more. Sha. So yeah, but you get my drift. Where the people who were supporting her, truth was never actually their standard. It was the perspective she was stating that they agree with and share. If that makes sense. All right. So everybody, I see we're almost getting close to 300 plus people concurrently watching. So again, if you haven't done so, I just pinned it in the chat if you want to join the conversation while we have the ladies or even as other people join on later. Make sure, feel free to come in good faith. This is not a room or area for us to really debate. This is the ladies' night where it's open to any and every woman that has a good attitude. And feel free to ask whatever questions you want about relationships, about Black men, dating, cheating, you name it. This is a space where we can be honest about what's going on and actually visually see Black men and Black women just talking. And I think that, and I hope that this is off to a good start. Oh, and I do see somebody already hit the super chat button for sure. W Dave for you. Thank you for the $2. Very good topic and feedback. Excuse me, critical thinking. Appreciate you, good brother, for the 2 for sure. And U.S. Army retired, $10. My opinion is that a lot of modern women are looking for the 6 and 7 figure guys. If they are not able to lock one down, then I believe they would rather stay single instead of working together. Ooh, I'm not going to say nothing. I want to hear from all 3 of y'all. And this is a great example of normally when these things are made, the chat start going crazy. People start going back and forth about this. I want to hear from 3 Black women. What do y'all think about his first part and his second part about what financial expectations are a lot of modern women expecting from men? And then also, if they can't find it, are they comfortable with staying single as a result? What y'all think? Any person could go.
find that to be the truth. I see it on in the internet. I see that when people put a microphone in front of people, they oh, I want this, this, and this. But when I walk outside, I see regular people dating regular people. I go to a concert, I see people hand in hand. They're not married, but I see people in relationships in real life. If you put the internet or push the internet to the side and you step outside, I see regular people dating regular people. I don't see people like, oh, I'm just gonna, not give him a chance. I'm talking about broke and rich alike. Why do you think Pookie has so many kids? He didn't have any money, but he's got those kids. So somebody gave him an opportunity.
Okay.
I just don't think it's the reality. I'm sorry. I know I don't mean to mess everything up. I know y'all want me to agree with everything. I just don't see that.
Listen, but again, this goal isn't about everybody agreeing. I want people to be honest about what they're asking and how they really feel. But I am interested to see first what you three actually think about whether or not a lot of women, like he says, modern women, are looking for men that make 6 or 7 figures.
I think a certain kind of woman is looking for that. But I don't think that that's the average person on the day-to-day that I see. Obviously, I don't live around the world. I'm in, I can just go by the ATL, Alabama. These are not rich men who are linking up with women or marrying. I mean, we can't say there's a small percentage of people who are over a certain amount, right?
Yeah.
But so that means that most people are not that. But I bet you they got a girl. They're talking to somebody.
What about you, Melanie?
I feel that even though she's saying it's something that's mostly on like social media and TV, we know that they only push what we're paying attention to. So I would have to say that this is what the women are looking for. There's not too many conversations, whether it's in the real world, online, just what you see. The T app was a prime example of what women were focusing on when it came to a man. If you appreciated the regular man, how was that even so popular to begin with? Why were we even partaking in it? So I don't think women appreciate the value that a man has. I think they appreciate the dollar amount.
Damn. And you think that's average?
Like woman across, you mean as in women?
The average modern day woman in America, you think they are hoping for at least a 6-figure earner, male?
Yes, absolutely.
Ooh. And what about you, Grace?
I actually agree with both of them. I think this is one of those things where the truth is in the middle somewhere. There are women who are looking for that 6-7-figure guy, regardless of the consideration whether or not they actually qualify for them. And then probably later on down when they get older, they'll probably have to realize that it's not realistic and make some trade-offs. So I do think there are women who are looking for that and it's not realistic and they could be overlooking men who would be really good husbands and fathers. I also know that social media is not real life. And I too, like Miss Shan, when I leave my house, I also see average men and average women together, just doing life. So I think it's a bit of both. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. So I'm always careful not to adopt social media narratives because I know that the men who are married, most of them are not 6-figure earners. And the Black men specifically who are 6-figure earners, most of them are married to Black women. So yeah, that's the reality of things.
Yeah. And again, it's a cop-out to say, of course, it's somewhere in the middle, but I would split it into 2 categories. I would split it into the category of women who are in relationships versus women who are not. Women who are in relationships that they've been in for a while and they have no intentions or plans of leaving, this question is effectively almost irrelevant because the majority of people who are married or the individual man is not making 6 figures, right? So that's a given. With that said, would they prefer that? Probably. They probably would want that to happen, and maybe even they're working towards that. When it comes to women that are single or chronically single, I think that percentage is a little higher than people wanted to believe. And part of the reason, believe it or not, is that I think that women don't have to date other women as men. So it's like when women talk about domestic violence and how this guy's treating them and how horrible he is, and everybody else is saying he's a good guy and this, and that, you don't see the version of your girlfriends of what she's like with men quite often, especially in their private lives, on dates. You have no idea how your girlfriend really shows up. You really don't. Unless y'all doing double date. And even then, double dates don't show you what you need to know. And I think some of the expectations surrounding six figures is probably a combo of things, believe it or not. Social media, obviously. The cost of living going up. And then also women's income going up and their expenses going up with it. So if Black women are now talking about they're leading the charge in the community with owning properties on their own, and then a man comes in the picture, the odds that she's comfortable with a dude making 45, 50, 60 when she's got student loan debt, she's got a house, a car, she wants to travel a couple of times a year, and the man is coming in the picture, and she may want kids or have kids, and she may have a house, the floor has risen significantly from 20 years ago. Women don't have to articulate and say six figures, but their expectation, and God forbid if she hasn't had kids and she has the age where she still wants them, and she may want to take time away from work for a significant period of time. Her perspective, a lot of ladies' perspectives are is that his income is supposed to replace his and hers. That's the reality. That's the game. Now, like Grace said, they all ain't gonna get it, and many of them adjust or settle over time. But and I would say this is probably a 40 and under issue. I don't know that women 45, 55, 65 and up, they lived in the era where when they were younger, things were cheaper. Different expectations, different demands. As an example, for me and my wife, we got our house built a couple years ago, and about an hour in the same state, north, my parents bought a house that was very comparable to ours. And we spent 5 times for this house what they spent back then when I was a kid moving to New Jersey. Same house. So to offer anything close to what my parents did, we have to spend 5 times that. That's the market. Now, again, unless you want to live in the middle of the country, that's the game. So I think there's a little bit of truth on both ends. But that was a good question. I mean, good topic for sure. Grace, what question you got for the panel today?
So my first question is, why do men divorce significantly less than women?
Ooh, why do men divorce significantly less than women? I want to know what y'all think about this. This is a good ass question. Good ass question. Shambo, you start. Yeah, that's a great question. What y'all think? And Grace, you can give what you think it is too if you have an answer.
Who do you want to speak first?
Anybody.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, go ahead. He said you first.
I said I'll go last.
Oh, okay.
I'm always the person starting drama, so I'm just gonna go last.
Here she go. Here she go. Now, you know what, Melanie, go first.
Okay. I think men have a better sense of duty and loyalty. I think men love harder than women. Yeah, that's just a couple of them that I will throw right off the top. I think women are constantly evolving and wanting more. I think men are pretty much the same that they've always been, not in its totality, but as a majority. So yeah.
Okay. What about you, Grace?
I actually have a very similar answer. I do agree with Miss Mellon in that men do have a better understanding of duty, and they understand how to carry those duties out. Personally, this is just an opinion, probably longer than women do, how to carry out duties consistently for a longer period of time than women. And so I do think that that's also part of the reason why men tend to divorce less than women. I also find that sometimes they might be a bit more passive, and so they don't necessarily want to be the cause of the marriage ending, so they kind of just stall and wait for the woman to just get fed up and do something. So I think those are the factors involved.
Why men are less likely to initiate divorce. What about you, Shamona? What you think?
I agree with Grace.
What part?
One of the things that she stated, well, I agree with both, actually. I think it's all circumstantial, right? People divorce for different reasons, but
Mhm.
I think in the grand scheme of things, I think that just like Grace said, I think that men are take it harder, right? I think they take the job a little bit more serious, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Now, what that looks like in between is very different. I'm talking about the commitment. Like I committed to this, I'm gonna stick it out. I don't want to seem like a failure, so I'm gonna stick with it. Now, I think that women pay attention to the fine details in between, right? They don't look at the bigger picture. They look at the day by day. Am I happy? Am I being, whatever it is that's going on, they make their decisions off of that. And we all know women are emotional creatures. They go off feeling. So unfortunately, if your feelings fade, or which they will, because that's just how feelings work, right? They go up and down, no consistency. Unfortunately, women sometimes leave because of that. Sometimes, and there are other times where, like I said, it's just due to circumstance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
Yes, fickleness is
say
the
it again.
fickleness is very detrimental. That fickleness
Mm.
in
Fickle.
female
Feelings are
nature.
fickle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love, Grace, what you said, because I think it's extremely underrated. We take for granted that most or all men that didn't initiate first were committed, because or doing a good job, or great husbands. Some are, some aren't, right? I think that secondary piece, though, about if a relationship y'all ain't had sex in 6 months, y'all ain't, y'all not close, y'all have grown distant, it's arguments, or now y'all barely even acknowledging each other, you've been staying in the other bedroom for a while, men will ride that out almost indefinitely a lot of times, even when the marriage done been dead.
Yeah.
And there are some men that will use the trump card that because she initiated the divorce, she's the one that quit.
Mhm.
Even if they both already quit during the actual marriage or relationship. That happens a lot. A lot.
I can agree with that.
Yes, I fully agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as simple as every single woman or even all of them is I'm not happy. Okay, yeah, happiness is a factor, but what's the contributing factors for why she's unhappy? Sometimes it really is her and her perception and how she sees things, or what she's aiming for, what she's comparing the relationship to. But other
Mhm.
times it's actually because of how he's showing up or not.
If you
And
had to put that in a percentage, what would it be?
of men that are waiting for her to leave,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's as high as 50%. And the reason why I'm going to say it is there are men that cheat and wait to get caught so that she can break it off. There are men that act like assholes and treat her poorly to force her to break up with him because he doesn't want to be the one to do the breakup. Or put her in a position to where she's quote unquote fed up. And now she's like, I'm out. I'm done. So that happens a lot. A lot. And the way you can tell is twofold. As a therapist, everybody tell you everything. And when you start hearing these stories and you start seeing, imagine a man that's in a relationship, staying in a relationship, but isn't trying anymore. He's checked out. You've heard this. He's checked out of the relationship. He stopped asking for sex a long time ago. He stopped trying to pursue romance with her. And again, part of it could be because of her, because of the situation, because of drama, because of cheating. You don't know what the catalyst is for that. But a lot of men have gotten to a point where they check out, but they don't leave. So when they stay and they don't leave, they put her in a position where she's collecting all this data that keeps telling her he doesn't care. And then when she finally leaves, she broke up our family. She left us. She left me when I was at my lowest. But if you also stopped trying and stopped applying effort, or you didn't know how that effort should be applied, that's one of the major reasons why guys don't initiate divorce. It isn't because they're always great or they're always great boyfriends or husbands. a lot of times it's because the relationship sucked. It was going nowhere. He didn't know how to fix it, or he gave up trying. And she just was the one who did the public thing. So now he at least has that little card in his pocket. Doesn't explain everybody's situation, but that's a legit thing. What y'all think
Yeah.
about that answer?
Yeah, I fully agree. That's an important nuance to acknowledge. And, it just makes me wonder, how do we, well, one, how do we lower the divorce rate? And so
Mm,
that would also beg the question of, okay, well, how do we give, couples the tools to fix their marriage and to not divorce and keep, families intact and things like that. So I'm actually really glad you broke it down like that, because it's a really important nuance to acknowledge. And it's important, because if we're going to talk about it, then you have to talk about all of it,
yeah.
including the uncomfortable parts. So I don't want anyone thinking it's all men's fault, or stuff like that. But it's just important to acknowledge what's happening there, so we can be honest about the issue and then come to the correct solutions.
Yeah, my divorce, when I went through that, taking responsibility for the part I had to play in it, I seeing what the relationship was and what it was heading towards, and how it wasn't improving in ways that we needed it to, and not being able to get it to like turn around. I could have filed for divorce at any time. I didn't. She did. And the relationship was souring for months. And it wasn't and I wasn't one of these powers like, I'm just going to let her do it. It just wasn't my impulse. But in hindsight, I should have. We weren't right together. And you ask, what are some of the ways in which we can probably lower the divorce rate? Well, I'm going to argue something that kind of goes counterintuitive to maybe what even a lot of people think I stand for. A lot of people got to stop getting married. You're not meant for it. You're not built for it. You spent 20 years doing your own thing. You think everything conforms to you. You see compromise as oppression. You think the opposite sex having a standard is slavery. You're not ready for a relationship. I would even
Yes.
argue, based on how you talk about your exes, lets me know how serious you are about what you're willing to do now. I know women that have gone through some of the most brutal, unfortunate things in their past. You would wonder if they're lying, because they might talk about it once and they don't keep referencing it, and they're healed and they're focused on showing up as their best selves now. So part of the way we get the divorce rate down is a lot of people that's not ready for marriage stop getting married. Sounds crazy from a therapist standpoint, but I see it on the tea leaves. What y'all think?
I fully agree with you. I really wish the right people would get married more, and the wrong people just stay single.
Yeah. Or just not married, you know? What about you, Melanie?
Well, I agree with you. I think it's a little deeper than that, because I believe in marriage. So I feel that it goes back a little further. Like, women are not being raised to be wives anymore. So
Mm,
that's what would make what you're saying more of a fact. But to just dive a little deeper, I think if we took motherhood more seriously, your statement wouldn't be as valid as it is.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fair. And we, again, people accept me, I guess, in the manosphere, red pill territory area, although I talk about a lot of different things. You can't have a community where fatherlessness is a problem and a lot of fathers aren't present, and assume these men aren't being shown on what it means to be a husband either. And I think that we assume, because it's a single mother issue, that means all the boys and men know how to lead, know how to be a husband. But that's not true either. I've said it before. I don't think you're a prize. You're automatically a prize just because you're a woman. And I don't think that you're automatically a leader just because you're a man. Those are titles and things that you have to earn. And if you don't have a model and you haven't been shown or taught, rushing into that is what leads to what we see, believe it or not. And it's unfortunate, where most people that did what society tells them to do, but they weren't prepped and taught and trained on how to do it. You're finding out what marriage is like to a degree is often when you're going through it for the first time. And that's a scary, scary thing. When people have not told you just the seasons, the noticeable difference in your emotions, the things that's going to change inside of you over time, the different versions of each of you that's going to be in different stages of your life. You're never married to the same person each season. I promise you, you're not. Promise you, you're not. Between weight gain, depression, anxiety, job loss, job gains, kids, etc., you're always dealing with somebody a little bit different than they were yesterday. Men get married with the expectation she won't change. A lot of ladies are getting married with the expectation that he'll either maintain all the high things that attracted her in the first place, or that he will change into the version of that she can officially feel totally comfortable with over time. And marriage is actually somewhere in the middle, you know? So real quick, before we go to any more y'all additional questions, let's see, we got a few more super chats. And everybody, we're almost at 400 plus people concurrently watching. So if you haven't done so, please make sure y'all send this to 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 people, especially the ladies. And the link is pinned in the comment section in case any of you would like to join the ladies' night discussion. Dr. Vince Johnson, appreciate you, good brother, for pulling up. $10. The internet has spread worldwide, but many cultures maintain strong boundaries through close, healthy family ties. Looking forward to this talk. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother, for that. Yeah, man. Even trying to figure out what family looks like nowadays. It's tough. It's tough territory. Ron Scooter, thank you for the 5. Great convo. From my experience talking with men, we don't make decisions based on happiness and tend to consider the practical cost of divorce. That is a factor as well. It's costly. And there are a lot of consequences. And there's a lot of consequences that comes with going through the divorce process, especially if you have kids. And I would argue, with respect to that I do think men that don't initiate divorce also are thinking about this. Sometimes they are thinking it's still better for my kids that I'm here versus not here. They are often thinking that even if my marriage sucks, my relationship is trash, I think it's better that I'm here every night and my kids see me every day than not. So that is some legitimate reasons why some guys won't initiate. Early bird, $4.99. Great panel, ask a brother. Women put their happiness before their family. Men put their family before their happiness. Generally speaking, but I don't know that every man doesn't put his lust before his family, doesn't put his pride before his family, doesn't learn the ways in which he can get along better and lead better before he's already lost her. I don't know if it's as simple as always, this particular statement. It's a little bit more complex than that. But I get the general gist. But there are women that literally is like, I'm not happy anymore. I'm done. That's real too. And then U.S. Army retired, $20. With the internet and social media, I think it's rare to have a monogamous relationship. Woo! Versus before the year 2000, when you actually had to go outside and get to personally know the other person. Man, the internet, social media, and dating apps has definitely made things substantially more difficult. It's definitely made the world smaller. And undoubtedly, I know that it's contributed to a lot of the cheating shenanigans. You have Miss Melanin on the show. Oh, shizzle. Yeah. The legend is in the building for sure. So real quick, so I'm going to ask y'all a general question first. I want to throw out there. What do y'all actually think, honestly, as women and especially as Black women, what do you all actually think the dating market is like in 2026 for men and especially Black men? Honestly.
Honestly, it is challenging for them. And I would not have came to this conclusion if I didn't choose to expose myself to their perspective and in seeking the truth about what's actually happening on ground. One account that really helped me reorient myself to the realities of the dating market for Black men was Medium Man. I don't know if you're going to have him on here, but I hope you do one day. I think he's really good.
We've been in discussions.
You sorry?
I said we've been in discussions.
Oh, Okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
So, yes, so I didn't understand how challenging it was for them until he was breaking down the statistics about how many Black men earn six figures and are married to Black women, how many available Black men there really are for Black women, and there's not some significant shortage of available men. So I do recognize that it is challenging for them. And I also hope that Black men understand that it's not necessarily easy for us on the other side of things. And this is more than just like what kind of job they have or things like that, but it's more of just relational skills and knowing and just pretty much just dating overall. But yes, that's my point.
Okay. What about y'all? What do y'all think it's like for the brother side of it when it comes to the dating market and the pool of women that's out there? What y'all think it's like for men?
I appreciate what Grace said. Very well spoken. But I think it's terrible. I do. I think it could be turned around so easily if women took control of it more. If we held one another accountable more, how we conducted ourselves, smiling, not meeting them with so much, what you want, what you got. You feel me? McDonald's, the park, so I think it's just kind of made them standoffish. And we're definitely in an era where men are having more conversations with other men. So therefore they're telling them, watch it, these women, these ain't the women from the past and stuff like that. So when you hear them and the things that they're discussing, it sounds like if we change the way we approach things, we would have a better outcome.
I'm not gonna say nothing yet. What about you, Shan?
I agree with that. I do think that we need to do a better job at how we're representing ourselves. I think that we can come off with a little attitude, not even towards just the men, towards women too. I've been a victim of the attitude, so I know exactly what you're saying. So I see that as well. I do think that we just need decorum. What happened to modesty? Just knowing how to behave when you walk outside the door, like you're representing your family, you're representing yourself in a good way, your brand, so to speak. I think we need to do better with that. And I think she mentioned earlier, just be a more wife-like, like having the qualities of a wife, cooking, like basic things that we used to do back in the day. I think that we're lacking those skills. Nowadays, I think people are just so into what I look like. Oh, I got this, materialistic things, and they are missing basic skills that are necessary to run a household as a female. So, as a feminine in the household.
Yeah. I'm 30. I'm 36. I'm 36 now. And it took me a second. I'm getting older, and I'm gonna be as artfully honest as I possibly can. It's what Melanin said. It's real bad. It's real bad. And it's so bad that every man that tries to tell you the different, not you in particular, but Black women, every single thing we say, there's pushback. It's pushback about hair, about makeup, about fashion, about how many men you should be dealing with or entertaining, about children. That's not his. Every single thing is pushback, even telling you what we're attracted to, telling you what we like, telling you what we want. Every single measuring stick that makes a man attracted or not attracted to a woman is Sonny, looks like you gotta switch your do a little okay. I was like, I don't know how she did that. Welcome, Sonny. Let me give you an example. And Chamonix, you kind of alluded to it when it came to the defensiveness. I'm gonna list off random things. This is before we even play any clips. How do most women, well, let's say specifically the Black community, Black women react and respond when they hear what Black men say about what they prefer with hair?
We don't do it for you. We do it for ourselves.
Okay. Same with makeup, right? Same with how they dress. Will try to explain, hey, even what you're co-signing on social media with some other women's behavior that's very concerning. We don't like seeing very toxic stuff being done to another black man and black women supporting it because a black woman's doing it. We literally tell you this. And when Kanye said Instagram got your B, social media got your woman, that's real. So when I made that statement, I think a month or so ago, when I said this whole all skin folk is kinfolk thing is gone. If you don't listen to me, if you don't respect me, if you don't like my standards, if everything I'm telling you that makes me more attracted to you, you don't want to do and let me know is not for me, it's for you, you're functionally operating for the female gaze, not the male gaze. Women that hate everything that men are saying don't like men. They like their resources. So if you got a real attitude and you get defensive about every single thing that we say out loud or even privately, and this the crazy part, you'll insulate yourself from criticism by saying we hate women, we hate our own mamas. When we go to the women that are giving us those things, you call us sellouts. And you're attacking men from both angles. It's real bad. It's real bad. I would argue if there were no geographical challenges for most black men in the country to date or deal with any woman from around the world, we wouldn't still be even doing panels anymore when it comes to debating or arguing anymore. They would just go where they were appreciated.
But that's what they would have to. I'm sorry.
It's not all black women, by the way. It's a loud enough group that's insulated by the group that's still friends with them, that's still cool with them, that still shares their content and still follow it. So between the panderers, between the simps, between the feminists that's anti men, male leadership, fathers in the home, and even children in the womb, that's who a lot of women are listening to. A lot. So legit, it is bad. It's actually very, very, very bad, if I'm going to be honest. And I don't think enough women have really thought about men this is why when men have options, they explore them. They don't put themselves in a pigeonhole no more. The standards they're telling you is actually what a lot of them just have baseline for everybody else that they deal with. So it's real bad, believe it or not. And when my wife asked me when we first started talking, what do you think about this whole passport bro thing? I said I was about to become one if I hadn't met you. And I'm not a model. I'm not 6'4" and got the best body in the world or anything. But listen, your boy had options out here. And I'm telling you, it was bad. The entitlement, the games, and as time is going on, they don't even know or realize. They don't even know or realize truly. They don't know or realize truly how over time how he gets more options. They don't even realize that because they're still going off of, we're 21. I got all these options. All these guys want me. They don't even know a guy at 31, 32, 35 doing his thing. They don't even know. They have no idea truly what he has as far as. So I'm having 50 to 80 women expressing interest on a dating app towards me, and this woman in front of me is giving me attitude. Doesn't even know. So it's unfortunately it's really, really bad. Welcome, Sonny, and welcome, Miss Teresa.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So real quick, related to our initial conversation and point, I'm going to play a clip because I know you're not going to be able to stay too much longer. I'm going to play this clip for everybody to react and respond to. This gives a hint of what it's kind of like, especially for black men to date currently in the U.S.
Very, very strict program.
As a man,
As you should.
Only type of niggas I like is the niggas who see and do.
A real man.
What's your sign? If you and I are talking, we got about 3 to 4 months before we need to be on a vacation or take some sort of trip together. Can I have some money?
And if I say I'm hungry, do not send me no $20 to get no food.
Now, first of all, what's wrong with $20? That's a
I can get some for $20.
Yeah, that's a good Chick-fil-A meal, right? Like, what's going
That's
on?
a probable.
$20, I ain't gonna need dinner with that 20.
Come on now. So
For
again,
real.
it's a joke, but that's
Mhm.
actually a reflection of the hive mind, social media minded ladies that are being guided by all these talking points. Remember the whole Cheesecake Factory nonsense?
Yeah, that was foolish.
Believe it. And I only tasted cheesecake for recently. It's delicious.
My wife's favorite place is the Cheesecake Factory.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Cheesecake Factory. I'm telling you. So that's what guys are seeing and experiencing. Remember, ladies are juggling dating apps, so validation from social media. A lot of guys shooting their shot in their DMs. So that's how a lot of them, unfortunately, are sounding. What do y'all think when y'all watch that for y'all sons, y'all brothers, even black men in general? Like, what do y'all think of seeing that?
Arranged marriage.
I agree to a certain degree, but I actually have sons. And when I was raising them and when I saw that there was an interest in women, I told them the very first thing you need to do is find qualifiers. How do you qualify your woman, to date her whether it's a good time or a long time. I told my sons, you need to identify qualifiers in that woman that make her qualified for you instead of you just going off of a big butt and a smile, which I've been saying. BBD been trying to tell men for 30 years, never trust that because it's poison. But here we are,
What about the rest of y'all?
One thing that I can appreciate about the video, and I would want a son or a nephew, any young man to watch, is the way he hung up in that face when she was talking reckless. I enjoyed it extremely. And that's how you handle it as a man. That's how you handle it. You don't let women constantly tell you what you aren't. If she's not on your program, hang up on her.
I agree.
Sean,
I know I'm sorry to interrupt, but I know yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I know I have been on another panel and there was the discussion of the nice guy, right? So I've always said that a woman doesn't want a nice guy. She wants someone to tell her no. And I think the biggest thing is that men need to take, and I think men are now doing that from what I've seen. I think men need to take more of an initiative to shut down things that they don't agree with, bad behavior, poor behavior, things that they would not accept, from them doing it to someone or someone doing it to them initially, instead of saying, oh, well, I'm just going to ride with it because she's a beautiful woman or, they like certain things. I think bad behavior needs to be addressed immediately and disregarded.
Sham Monet and then Teresa, I want y'all to jump in. What y'all think about that?
I want to say something. I don't talk about ratchet because I can't fight and I just prefer to keep my opinion to myself. All I can say is your vibe attracts your tribe and you should date people more like you, because when we try to step outside, we end up getting into uncharted territory and we don't know how to handle those situations. I just feel like he deserved a different type of woman in those, I don't know. I
You
just
said
hear
your vibe attracts your tribe. So I've heard this a lot. When you're an attractive woman or an attractive man, you attract everybody.
You do.
What you're responsible for is who you entertain.
Absolutely.
Right? Like if you're attractive, everybody coming from under rocks, everybody's coming from everywhere. If you're an attractive guy and an attractive lady, you're going to get a higher volume of interest from a huge pool of people. What you're responsible for is not who's attracted to you in and of itself like that. What you're responsible for is who you choose to entertain. So yeah, and again, a lot of these ladies don't let you know until after you ask them out. Then the demands start coming. Then the talking points start coming out, and I'm like, is this her or is this Instagram talking right now?
I agree.
Yeah. So what you say, Teresa and Grace?
I agree because, the media and just how hip hop culture is and the young people, that is the standard is to, you got to be able to pay out. These girls want certain pocketbooks, they want certain drinks, they want a certain look. And it's like, okay, what they call my nephew, I have 3 nephews, they're all teenagers, and they call what a guy does when he spends that kind of money a simp. Like, you're a simp, you're spending all this money for this girl, and she's a gold digger. And I don't think that if we as women don't speak into our young men and say, hey, look, you got to make good choices when you are dating or trying to build a relationship with a person, if they're always digging in your pocket, then where is the real relationship? Is it just for the gram, or are you going to be able to build with this person? Like, they have to have some type of solid foundation, and we just got to speak into our young men as women.
I think just a quick interjection, but when I hear you guys speaking in regards to the young men, I keep hearing you guys say, we as women, we as mothers, but what about the father? Because technically, this is more of his role in his area. There's supposed to be conversations between father and son that the mother knows nothing about because it's the male experience. So I just want us to be mindful that we are a secondary and not Front Street.
Well, in my particular case, I was the Front Street. There was no father.
Well, even if you're in a single parent household, there's karate, football, boys clubs. There, you're supposed to find spaces for him to have that male presence because he needs to learn certain things that you, as a woman, because we're more emotional, cannot teach him. He needs to go through.
Well, I mean, I can agree to disagree with you on that because here's what I will say. My sons were active in a lot of different things, right? They were around a lot of different men. It doesn't mean that all of those men were willing to give them that, right? So when I saw that there was an interest being shown with my sons wanting to be interested in women, I had to have that conversation with them. They came to me. Now, if they went to outside people, that was fine. I encouraged that. I encouraged them to call their dad and talk to their dad. However, I didn't come from this emotional space. I kind of have a love-hate thing with women being emotional. I think women are just mental. We think a lot, and I think we get into our heads about a lot of things. I'm not saying, and by all means, I'm not saying that as a woman I was able to raise men. I made it very clear that, I as a woman can only give them a part of who they can become. A man can show them what that is, right?
Yeah.
So I completely understand what you're saying, but sometimes even when your children are a part of those environments, that doesn't mean that they're going to actually fulfill that part of that child's needs. And they may not go to a coach or, their dojo leader or whatever and ask them those questions. They may feel more comfortable coming to me as their mom, and I had to be okay with that. And I don't get me wrong, I went to men for advice, but I gave them from my perspective as a woman what I saw, right? So I don't know if that, a lot of people kind of don't say that, I guess the point is that, women can't give advice. I can advise. I can tell you from what I've seen as a woman, what I have lived as a woman, right? I'm not telling him from the perspective of what he should do as a man. I am saying that as a woman, I have seen where women have gotten away with a lot of things in relationships because of societal, you know, ideals of what a woman should be and how women have weaponized their femininity and their womanhood to do these things. And if you want a certain thing from a woman, you do have to set standards for yourself and qualifiers for her because if not, she will I always say this: once you give a woman the keys to the car, she's not giving them back. And that's just how I understand that in a relationship with a woman. Once you allow a woman to tell you where, she wants to go for dinner or what she wants to eat, you're not going to get that level of, and I hate to say it this way, that level of control back in that relationship, because you've already established to her that she's now a leader and she can question everything about your leadership.
Damn.
So,
Sonny, you.
Yeah. So just real quick question. So, because you're saying to tell him to not give her the keys because she'll never give them back. How does he go about never giving her the keys?
let me ask you something. If you were in a relationship and your man is telling you he wants to lead it, how does he how do you respect his leadership if he's always asking you what to do, where to go? What
That's
when does he make a decision? Because as a leader, this doesn't mean he sits at the top of the pyramid. This means he leads me. This means I am following his purpose. I'm not telling him what direction his purpose should go. But if I am allowing, if a man comes in and says that, I'm going to just ask her, what do you want for dinner? I'm not saying she can't have that decision at one point, but at the inception of the relationship, to understand that I am leading this relationship, we are going to Ruth Chris at 7 o'clock. Would you like for me to send you a car? Would you like for me to pick you up? Or would you like for you to drive yourself? Those are the options that you give her. Because if you allow her to take the position and say, well, I don't want Ruth Chris and I want to go to, Givenchy, PPP, she, then she's always going to feel like she's going to do that. I don't, pardon my way, my words get past me sometimes, but to me, a man gives away his leadership when he does that, in my opinion.
no,
Right? I have
understand
never
what
seen a man turn around and be able to regain something he gave away at the inception of something.
I understand that, but the reason why I asked is because you were stating that you would inform them to not give up the keys, right? But that's only one talking point. What
Right.
about him having the conversations and the skill set to also not give up the keys? So it was like you're saying the one part, but also it needs to come through practice and teaching how to not give
Right.
up. Yeah.
So the first thing I would instruct anybody to do, and please, anybody else can jump in at this point. I am a bit of a chatty patty at times, so I always say that men, from my perspective as a woman, should learn the art of conversation. You can learn a lot more by communicating with a woman. A way to a woman's heart is through her mind. A way to a man's heart may be through his stomach. But understand that women are mental. This is why I say women are mental. A woman wants to know how you're going to lead her. A woman wants to know how you're going to teach her something, intrigue her with something that she may not know. So to me, the first step in doing anything is first for a man, to me, this is my opinion, is to find your purpose, be on that path, and then learn how to communicate. Not just talking, but learning how to listen, learning how to ask open-ended questions to get context clues so that you can now give that woman what she needs and what she wants.
So
And
real
with that,
quick,
I land.
appreciate you, Sonny. And Shan, I saw you making like a lot of different faces, so I'm gonna check in with you in a second about how you felt about that little exchange. What you two just did was perfect to me, because who's all on the platform?
Women.
And
Women.
And what else?
A man in here.
One man.
One.
Yeah.
One specifically, right? And we're having this back and forth discussion about what men should do, how they should lead, how they should move, whether or not fathers are needed or important. And what just happened during this exchange is what actually happens in the real world. Men are around, men are present, but their perspective isn't even seen as equal when it comes equally legitimate when it comes to how leadership should be. An actual leader knows what delegation looks like. An actual leader is not going to make every decision. They don't want to. And the better you are as a leader, the more likely you are to become a billionaire. Not because what's his name? Bezos is at the warehouses doing all the different jobs because he's figured out how to put all the different people in the areas where they are a strength to help us reach that goal. So, Melanie, I remember you had submitted a question that I've been reflecting on for a little bit that you kind of threw out there. And the question that you had submitted earlier was, name 5 things needed to successfully raise Black boys to become Black men. Number 1 is fathers. And number two is mothers that want those fathers to be there and respects them.
Yes.
We have a lot of discussions about how things should be and how things should run when we skipped over those first 2 parts. And then when we're trying to engage in these conversations, it's not that what Sunny or Melanin or anybody else on the platform has said or is going to say. It's we've been socialized to not factor that in as a requirement, as a basic necessity to raise not just kids, but especially boys. We don't even factor it. It's like, I got it. There's social media. Me and my tribe. No, you're not. Because a lot of the real world experiences of him really learning what a man is going to be is when you're not there. So those to me are like the first 2. Some that I've actually thrown out there as well is, I think to raise really successful boys. My mom was a single mom. My mom's still single now, right? Mothers being in relationships with men that they would want their sons to grow to become, so that we're not having these back and forth conversations. It may not be the father of your child. He may not be healthy enough. He may not want that relationship. He may not be the mature enough man to even step up to the plate to do that. But mothers being in a relationship with a man that they actually want their sons to grow up to become is the cheat code. So my mom, my dad was in and out, and it was tough. But the idea of that, most women don't even see that as an essential thing. And the last 2 was being taught the distinction. And Sonny, you said it, and I agree with you. Being taught the distinction between a girl or a woman he should love and build with versus one he should avoid. Most moms have only taught him on what type of son he needs to be for society.
Right.
For women, for the woman in his life. She's never taught him what his expectations were supposed to be, unless she just doesn't like her. What's the traits of, if y'all get offended on platforms every time men say or people say what women are doing that's problematic, toxic, harmful for relationships, and you get offended and you equate it with sexism and misogyny and everything else, you're basically saying there's nothing that will disqualify a woman. That's why we're arguing about whether or not a whole phase should matter. We're debating about that. So I'm gonna play this clip real quick related to exactly what y'all said. And then I want everybody to, based on what Sonny talked about, what we just had that exchange, I'm gonna play this and then I want us to apply it to today and see what y'all think.
Hand if you're married. None of you married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. 1. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. It's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
I ain't thinking about holding up father, no sex, my man. If a girl, she get having a baby, carrying a baby, hey, that's on her. I'm not gonna stop my pleasures because of another woman.
What about birth control? What about condoms?
Girls don't like them things. They don't like them things. They'll take them things off. They figure that you saying that they filthy or they dirty or something.
25 years ago.
So back to our initial topic we was just talking about when it comes to fathers and leadership and what that looks like. I'm extremely interested to know what y'all think about that clip, and are we seeing the consequences of that today?
Yes.
Yes, that really, I think I've seen that clip before on either, I think it was on Dr. T.S. Johnson's channel. I watch him like almost every day. Oh man. So But yes, I really do think it's a problem. I do remember what he said in one of his videos, in that the gender war didn't start until Black men responded. And I think that's true. I never thought of it that way, but when I consider his answer, I couldn't disagree. And so it really burdens me, and it makes me want to do better, to just make better choices, and then just to also just set a better example for other younger ladies who could be looking up to me, and doing my best to create a stable family.
And before everybody else jumps in, and Teresa, I want you to jump in next because I haven't heard from you yet. Shout out to my boy Eric Lloyd, pulling up in the building with the $300 holla banger. Appreciate you, good brother, for showing love and for gifting 50 memberships to a whole bunch of folks. And everybody, if you haven't done so and you're watching, I see we got 500 people concurrently watching. Make sure y'all like this wherever you're watching it from. Make sure y'all send it to 1, 2, 3, or even 4 or 5 people. And feel free to become a member if you haven't done so, to show love and support. And additionally, hit that super chat button if you have any questions or comments. My mere thoughts. Thank you for the 199. She said all of that just to agree. I don't know who you're referencing, but it is what it is, and I appreciate you for the 199. James, thank you for the 199 as well. Sage P, question: if a man makes enough money to support their entire family, why would a woman select welfare over her husband completely providing? Black women have been doing this since the 70s. We just watched a clip of a lot of ladies. Let me put who's on. I'm gonna put somebody on mute because I just hearing a little echo. We just saw a clip that kind of relates to this topic. Teresa, then Shan Monet, and then everybody else. Teresa, what you thinking? And you can unmute. You're on mute, Teresa. There you go.
I had never seen it before, so just to hear them speak like they do now, it just shows me that history repeats itself, and it was just eye-opening. The women didn't want to have anything to do with the men after the baby, and the men weren't trying to use any type of protection to make sure they're pleasing the woman. So it's like they're just having babies, and I know that it's going to be a difficult job raising them because they're not on one accord. And it just lets me know now, as we all said, that it's going to take the mother and the father and the community to really bring in the whole idea of that it should not just be, you should not just be dating gold digger. Just point blank period. You're not going to
So,
find love that way. It'll
yeah.
be more complicated. And I think that the more we just, I'm gonna stay out of their business. I'm gonna let them, make their own decisions. They're grown or they're getting to be a certain age, and they'll learn. Yeah, that's good, but let's be an example. A lot of the time men want to date somebody like their mom. So what are we watching? How are we carrying ourselves? And same thing for the guys. How for the fathers, how are you carrying yourself? What type of example are you portraying around your children? So yeah, just taking a look in the mirror at yourself, like how am I contributing to this pattern of toxicity in relationships?
Shan Monet, what about you?
I think it's like a bit of a generational curse. One of the things that she stated was, I think she may have been raised by a single mom, right? So you know what you're used to. You're not used to a man being in a home, so you think you can handle it without a man. So it just trickles. And then her kids probably think the same thing because that's how they were raised. And it's just forever a cycle that keeps repeating itself. I think it's sad, I don't know.
I'll say this. I think a lot of women believe this without the attitude part. I think they just embrace and move and behave this way today. I don't think it's as simple as, I don't need a man, I hate men, we don't need to fight. I do think that a lot of women end up like this because subconsciously in their head, they do got it. At least they think they do. A mom's here, I got it. SNAP, not SNAP, well, some different benefits, I'm gonna get discounts or get a stipend for childcare. Yeah. I think, and then once they get a school age, the school got them for the next 8 hours of the day. Like, I think there's a worldview where I think we downplayed the significance of propaganda, feminism, and pushes to convince women that fathers weren't a requirement or essential for human development. Apparently mothers are. They see themselves as necessary, but they're trained by the fathers that's not there, by the choices their mom may have made, by society, by feminism, by the government interventions. They are trained to not think that one half of the human species is necessary to there was a scene that there was a part in there. I'm going to pull it up real quick, see if I could find it. Towards the tail, there was two things I noted. The first one was he asked them a question of who all would want to be married and who would want to be with the father of their child. And one young lady raised her hand and she laughed and covered up her face. That is today. That's today. It is not a flex in 2026 for women to talk about wanting to get married. There are women that build up platforms around male bashing and they lose followers and subscribers when they announce that they're pregnant with their husband or they announce that they're engaged. It is no longer, they now see that as the thing you should be ashamed of. So now they're following the script when they get the microphone. Yeah, I don't need a man. Why did I need a man? They're saying everything that's the antithesis of what you need to become. And the second part I noted, and I wondered if y'all noticed it. I'm gonna play it real quick. The last girl that spoke, when she was saying that she doesn't need a father, who was in her lap?
A little boy.
Her son.
Her son. Her son. She has a son in her lap while she's saying she doesn't need his father or a father. That is modern day for a lot of ladies in terms of their mentality. That visual imagery that you see on the screen, a lot of women actually think this way, believe it or not. So Shan Monet, I want you to jump back in, and then Melanin and Sunny as well.
I just had a question. So I know a lot of people, you were seeing a lot of women today feel this way. Do you think that they could possibly be the offspring of this? You know how it's saying there's a cycle. So maybe these are the kids that you're seeing now who are saying the same things that their parents once said at a given point years ago. So
she said it in the clip. Like, I don't know if it was in this clip or a later clip. She said, like, I didn't have my dad, and I don't see, like, so that's a thing. But it's also socialization. And that's the secondary piece. That dynamic you saw in that room where one girl was scared to raise her hand and say she wants to be married. That's how women are approaching social media and their actual friendships. Imagine surrounding yourself with people who hate marriage, who hate men, who hate male leadership or view it as oppressive inherently, who view, I haven't even read y'all no quotes, feminist related quotes that would rock you of Sheila Cronin. Since marriage constitutes slavery for women, it is clear that the women's movement must concentrate on attacking this institution. Freedom for women cannot be won without the abolition of marriage. Linda Gordon, the nuclear family must be destroyed. Whatever its ultimate meaning, the breakup of families is an objectively revolutionary. Andrea Dworkin, marriage is an institution developed from grape as a practice. Bell Hooks, as long as a man is the head of the house, the woman is a second-class citizen in her home. Marilyn French, all men are grapists, that's all they are. These are the pioneers that wanted this taught in upper education.
And that was all women, correct?
Of course. Okay. And again, there's a long list of that I could list.
I have a question.
And just to clarify, and then I'm gonna let you go. So that video was their wish. That video we just saw was their wish. So when people try to say feminism is about this, is about that, no, feminism is actually about this. Women being able to be quote unquote self-sufficient or relying on the state, where the concept of family is a woman and her child. Family is not a man. Family is not a father included. That's how feminists see it. And that's the propaganda that they've actually got convincing both sexes that contribute to this to believe. So Grace, why don't you jump back in? What were you about to say?
Yes, I just had a question. Have you reached out to Rachel Wilson to have a show about feminism, about the real roots?
I think I might have emailed. I know I sent the email to the team about trying to get her on. It's been a little difficult. I don't know if there's a in-between person that's been very blocking it for some reason. That's neither here nor there. But yeah. I have watched her stuff and I agree. I haven't read her book yet but I have heard enough and read enough into feminism to know that she's on the right track in terms of the occult components of it, as well as the anti-family agenda from the very beginning. A lot of times people say, well, feminism changed over time. No, it didn't. You just learn more of what it was actually always intended to be. Yeah. So yeah, Shan Monet, feel free to jump back in. What when y'all think about what maybe even you've seen in your own lives, was there anything that you watched in that clip that kind of resonated with what you grew up in, what you're experiencing now, or what you were observing even amongst your friendships or online? What y'all think?
Yeah, for sure.
What you think? Go ahead, Sonny. Why?
Well, I want to just clear something up. Me raising my sons, or being in that environment of raising my sons by alone, was something that I had to do, not something that I wanted to do. The relationship that I had with their father, I understood my responsibility in the why. You know, he distanced himself. You know, I hold myself fully and wholly accountable for what for the dissolution of that relationship. So let me be very clear. When I say I did not, that's not what I wanted for myself or for my children, but it was an unfortunate situation that I had to live with because, believe it or not, my mother was married for many, many years until she was divorced. But in a lot of her rhetoric after her divorce, it was to uplift doing it all by yourself. You don't need nobody to help you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not, and even though the relationship that I had with my son's father, right? It was not bad, but I also understood that there was a lot of things that I wasn't mature enough to understand, nor was I taught, even in seeing my parents married.
Yeah.
So please don't misunderstand it. Just say that I would tell anybody, if you're not in a relationship, and a marriage is best, but if you are not in a relationship with your children's father or fathers, however many there is, because we know they got multiple these days, you need to work on that. You need to establish that. We did not create these babies by ourselves. We are not designed nor built to shoulder the responsibility of being mom, dad, provider, nurturer. You're going to neglect something, right? You're going to drop that ball. And I'm speaking from my own lived experiences. I couldn't be everything for my children. There were moments that I missed, right? I couldn't be present for them in a lot of different ways. I didn't understand the harm in that until I started to work on myself. And it took time, right? So I wanted to just clear that up because I want your audience and everybody here on the panel to understand I do not encourage single motherhood by any, I don't encourage that. It is not a flex. You're not a strong, independent Black woman. And I say, if you take on those titles, then do it by yourself. Don't ask for child support. Go run around and do.
Hold on
Listen,
now.
I'm a realist. Okay. I hollered about, I can do bad all about, well, then do it then. Okay. So when you're saying that you can't call yourself independent, strong, and I don't need nobody, and then turn around and run to the courts and say, well, I need him to pay child support. Well, no, you just told me you can do it all by yourself. So
Mm,
do it by yourself, right?
mhm, mhm,
You don't need any help, right?
mhm,
Let's deal with the realities of it. You don't need any help. If that's how you identify yourself as strong and independent, then do it by your strong and independent self. But I digress. I
mhm.
digress.
Shit, my man,
However,
Shan, your head was going up and down. Tell me what you thinking, both with the clip and what Sonny
go
was
ahead.
saying. What you
Mhm.
think?
I mean, I agree. I just don't understand this mentality. I guess, I was just raised very different. I have four men in my life: my dad,
Right.
my granddad, and my great granddad. So it's just, I don't know why people would think that you would need both parents in the household. Like, I don't, I can't, I, I just don't get it. I guess it's just hard for me. It's hard for somebody who wasn't raised that way to
Mhm.
wrap my finger around why that would be. And even if you were, it's hard for me to think like you should know that it just makes sense that a kid would need a balance, their mom and their dad to.
Mm.
It just
I
makes sense.
agree with right.
I'm not.
I agree with you. Is it Shanae? Is it I'm
It's Shan
sorry.
Monet, but you.
Shame on that. I'm so sorry.
It's all.
I completely agree with you. And to be honest with you, I call myself a young old lady. I blame my generation for a lot of this because we got
Mm.
into that. I don't want to say y'all. I like to keep my stuff a little secret.
Put it
But
out there. Put it out there.
Imma just say it like this. I understood growing up in a certain time, while we didn't see the degeneracy as loud as we do now, it was there, right? I grew up in the era of salt and pepper and
Mhm,
and all of that. So we didn't have it loudly, right? It was very quiet and understated and subtle, but it was there,
mm,
right? So when we got to an age, right? And I also say this too, a lot of my generation had their children younger and we coddled them along the way because we wanted to give them certain things that we didn't have, advantages, the nice clothes, the shoes, and all of these things. And I do believe part of that did come along that whole, let me just go have, sex with a man and produce a baby just to get a check out of him because we wanted that flash and glam. We didn't even have social media at the time, but I think in my generation there was an uptick of the video vixens would be, you know, somewhat of a semblance of that kind of thing, right? So we
mhm,
had these very subtle examples of what this was, and I think our children just said, hold y'all, your Four Locos or whatever we were drinking back in the day,
mhm,
and we gonna do it better." And I think that's essentially what we did. I this younger generation from, you know, my oldest up until now, they don't care. Hoeing is the new normal. Who wants to be a wife? Wives are submissive, and I don't know what they think a submissive is. I think submissiveness in a lot of different ways is beautiful. Because
mhm,
husbands have to submit to their wives in a certain way, and wives have to submit to their husbands. There's that thing called respect. So, I mean, and ask a brother, you could,
mhm,
Mr. St. James, this is your lane. I am not gonna get in here, and my credentials are not in psychology, and I'm not here to
mhm.
psychologize. So I'm just saying that I think we encouraged a lot of it, right? Because
Yeah.
my mother wasn't highly educated, right? She came up in that time where, she was a secretary. That was big stuff, honey. You
Mhm,
secretary
mhm,
school. I did that, right? But she
mhm,
also understood after she got a divorce that she was at a disadvantage. She was not at the same earning potential my father was. She did not have those resources available to her that she had when my father was there. So what did she tell me? Go out,
Get
get
the rich.
educated, do these things and make yourself independent of a man and not interdependent of your man. But
Mhm.
I'll land with that. Shame on go on, because I talk. I told you I talk.
Nah, I agree with that. And Chase, Grace, I want you to come in a sec. Hearing what you all said, I agree. But the point, and one of the key points that I wanted to take away from the actual video was the actual time frame. I think it was like 1986. A lot of times right now when people talk about the gender war, relationships, the quality of the dating pool, everybody wants to put this strictly just to social media and dating apps right now. And modern day men today, this was happening back then. This was happening back then. And
I was raised in the 80s, so that's why.
right. And number two, me and my movie book club, we're currently reading Delano Squires' The Vanishing of the Black Family based on that documentary. If women want to understand how they fell for the trap, and if you want to understand who benefits from it staying the way that it is, because Mona, you basically said, like, why would people think this way? Why would they even want this? There are industries that have spent millions, if not billions of dollars for this very reason. You don't think the prison industry wants this to be? You don't think the various forms of education where they have to have the disciplinary schools because of the lack of fathers in it? There's a whole schools in classrooms that are filled with students who can't get it right because of that very dynamic. The social services. Do you think Planned Parenthood wants women to be more responsible before they need Planned Parenthood? No. So what I'm getting, and I see, Sonny, what I'm getting at is there's a whole bunch of industries that's eating on this. They love this. And if you as a woman, let alone anybody, but if you as a woman didn't realize there was an agenda that sees this, when they look at this, they don't see black faces, they see dollar signs. They see prison beds getting filled. They see all the ways in which they're going to be able to maintain control of a community because the men are missing. So whatever the men are missing on will be the supplement. We'll fill in the gap. So when they see this, they love it. Love it. Entire industries are built on this. So it's an unfortunate thing for sure. And real quick, I am Darren. Thank you, sir, for the $2 blessings to the panel. And then as well, again, appreciate you another $2 stepping outside of the group think gets you picked on. Absolutely. Because I do think a lot of women that say what you all have kind of tried to articulate, it's not the best thing to say, especially on social media. It's and that's the other piece that I think that's also contributing to this. It's not just about moms. It's about the women that we're surrounded with. It's about the women we're surrounding ourselves with, who we're being influenced by. So Grace, final thoughts or questions. What's coming to mind for you?
All of this just makes me wonder, I know where we begin in order to solve most of these issues. Mm-hmm. It's just how do we start delineating, the women who want to build a good family and a good home and improve the community from women who are just dragging the standard down. I think we need to start separating quickly. Yeah, so.
Listen.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said. I don't have any disagreements with you.
The first thing I'm going to say, and women ain't going to like it, a lot of y'all need to take a break from social media. And when you come back, you need to delete and remove everybody that doesn't speak life into marriages, relationships, and doing life with men and having families together. If you're not willing to do that, I've heard women say some of the most vicious, nasty, evil things about sons in the womb, getting rid of them. If you find out you're having a son, get rid of it. I've heard them say, use men just for their wallet. Don't get emotionally attacked. I've heard it all. You're following the women that's speaking against the future you claim to want. And you're shocked that a lot of y'all ain't getting the type of outcomes. Those young ladies in that room, they're probably in an environment where everybody agrees with this. You are a single woman. If you are a single mother, if you're a woman that's in a relationship and want to keep it, you have to seek out women who have a healed, whole perspective of the type of version of life you want, as far as men, family, and children. This ain't. We can talk about men stepping up all we want. Stop surrounding yourself with people that hate them. So, Grace, what you say? If we want this, how do we begin? It actually starts with y'all. Raise the bar of who has access to you, and raise the bar of who gets to influence you. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
I get worried sometimes though, because it's like Black women just have this mind virus that just won't be cured or something like that, or they just don't want the solution. I just don't understand. Sometimes I worry, so I'm just like, how do we? But I know there's a remnant of Black women like out there who do see this and do not want to be associated with that. I just think they're very quiet, a very quiet group, and I think they need to start talking more.
Yeah, I think y'all need to normalize normal stuff again. We got women who are cheering for Cardi B getting pregnant while she's still married to another man. We talking about women cheering for Meg Thee Stallion and her antics. Women cheering for Lotto, who's pregnant, twerking on stage. So let's start with the basics. If you're surrounding yourself and influenced by those women, you gotta. If I really, really want to get serious about Islamic faith, I'm going to surround myself with people that's really dedicated about it. If I'm really going to get serious about a particular diet, I'm going to go to the people that can help me do it. But when it comes to relationships, you surround yourself with people who don't have them or have unhealthy ones. So, and number two, this whole, well, I'll behave or I'll change or adapt when the right man comes along. Too late. Too late. Too late. Because if he has options and he's smart, he's already looking at people who knows what he's looking for. This whole I'll learn on the job thing, there's certain prerequisites that come with the territory. So that clip, I've already loved that we did this hour and a half plus combo, and it's making it very clear. I think we need to do this more often. And I don't want to hold y'all because I'm hungry, and I think some of y'all might be hungry too. But I do want to ask all of you while you're here, tell me what you think about our first time doing this panel that's open, where you can say what you think, you can bring up relevant topics or even questions. And I could be blunt and honest with y'all about how men or even my professional perspective kind of thinks. What did each of you think about doing this, and how often do you think we should do this going forward? Let's do Chamonix, then Sunny, then Grace. And Teresa, if your camera comes back on, I'll add you back. So go ahead, Chamonix.
I think I had a great time. I enjoyed the conversation. It's always good to get other people's point of view and things. I know I'm not all right. I'm open. But I think that I enjoy the conversation. I'm available whenever you need me to come. And, I know everybody's not going to agree with me in the way I think, and that is okay. But I enjoyed it. As far as how often, I mean, that's up to you, I suppose. Maybe a couple times a month, so.
Okay, every other week. All right, that's a possibility. Sunny, what about you? I know you came in towards the tail end. What you think?
Well, I've been a long time follower and watcher, so
appreciate you.
Yeah, I remember when you first popped up on the scene on Instagram, and then I followed you over here on YouTube. So, I think this is a great conversation to have. I'd rather deal with the solutions than the problems. I think a lot of people in this space just focus on the problems and not the solutions. So, I think as often as once a month, however often you see fit. I think the more we have representation, I would like to give Grace, is that your name? I would like to give her kudos and her flowers, because she's a well-spoken, beautiful, articulate young lady. And you do not see that a lot in these spaces. And I thank you for being here. And I thank you for having us as well. So I think I think as often as you see fit. I know you have another panel with another group of ladies, which I love that. I love watching them and watching you interact with them. So I think this is a great, I think it's a great thing. As often as you think you see fit within your schedule. So.
But nah, that's good feedback. I am going to look and see realistically. I do like the idea of every other week. It would be cool if we can lock it in once a week and just have different ladies or even the same ladies and continue the conversation, because Grace, what you brought up earlier, that just not too long ago, about like, what do we do next? What's the steps? How do we screen? How do we pick better? Why do we pick wrong in the first place? Who was supposed to teach us these things? And how can we actually get better? Yeah, that's an ongoing conversation that I think can legitimately change the game. I think it could change the game. Listen, the panels are fun when it's debating. The panels are fun when it's just one person talking or no panel at all. But I think what we see on the screen matters. I think we have to get used to seeing Black men and Black women, or men and women in general, being able to see and talk about very tough topics, even some of our personal stuff, and figuring out, well, how do we fix it? And how do we get better? And if this is really just about finger pointing, that video we saw, there's a reason why we're still seeing that today. There's a reason why we're still seeing it today. And Grace, before you go, Exotical?
Exotical's Dollhouse. That's the name of my channel.
Okay. Well, welcome to the platform, madam. And ladies, if any of you have to go at any point, or even if other people are joining, you do not have to stay. But I appreciate you all that have stayed on all the way up until this point. So, Grace, before I check in with you, Exotical Dollhouse, welcome. And what you thinking? And how far did you see as far as what we were covering today?
One of the things that I wanted to piggyback on was the solution part, which is the conversation that is not being had. That is fantastic. And I'm going to just throw out a really very crazy idea out here and say that we need to start arranging marriages for our children.
Somebody said that earlier.
We need to start matchmaking for our friends and family and helping people to see the beauty in marriage and family. And it may just be the next generation, because some of these people are lost. And we don't need to be trying to convince them, okay? They're lost, and they decide, listen, I want to find love. I want to find someone to build a family with at any age. They can make that decision and try to find the information on how to do it. I'm a big advocate for marriage. I marry people. I do it every day. I counsel people on relationships, and I'm not a counselor or anything, but I'm a spiritual advisor for people in relationships. And there is no reason we should not be taking advantage of what we can do for the youth and thinking about the future instead of thinking about ourselves. Because at this point, if you're over 35, you might want to charge yourself to the game. Charge yourself to the game.
Man, don't look
because
away.
You will find love. I believe that anybody can find love at any age. I truly do.
Yeah.
But that may not need to be your main focus. Instead, pour into your community. You might meet somebody trying to do that. So that's just kind of one of the things that I had to say in mind. I have a lot of other thoughts that might be a little bit crazy, but I do really like what the ladies were saying. And that was really one of the things that I must have missed it when someone said, oh, we need to start arranging marriages for our children. I must have missed that, because I think that is a fantastic idea. And I'm already trying to do it for my child. Okay.
So the funny thing with what you said is who gets to do the arrangement and gets to do the screening process?
Well, I feel like,
the only reason why just to clarify, the only reason why I'm asking is because I would argue most of the people who not you in particular, but most of the people who maybe even think that's a good idea for their child aren't qualified to do that, because they can't figure it out even in their own life either.
Right.
And I think that's a big piece, is we're listening to too many people that don't know what the hell they're talking about in this space. And it's coming back to bite us big time.
That's true.
Now, my argument is there's people that's married and the marriages ain't great. There's people that's single that know what the hell they talking about. I'm going to always narrow it down to, do you have a healed, whole perspective of both sexes? Because if you don't, and if you haven't been trained to, you can't pick for you. What makes you think you're going to be able to pick for somebody in a generation 20 years younger than you, in a market that you clearly can't figure out and understand? So that's the key piece, where I think that, whether there's life coaches, whether there's therapists, whether there's mentors, there are people that probably need to be a part of that process, and they get final veto power. None of these people mean anything if you can just override what they got to say and what they voted on or agree or don't agree with anyway. So I'm going to give you a cheat code way of what I plan on doing. When my daughter gets of age and she decides she wants to bring home some guy, my goal and our goal is to have a financial nest egg to invest in her marriage. And you're not going to get that from a man we don't agree with or approve of, from a background we don't agree or approve of. All this back and forth, and no, you can do it. You won't get our blessing, and you won't get the money that we've accounted. So if the money I set aside was for college and you say you want to do something other than college, that's cool. But that's what that money was for. I think we have to have that mindset where small seeds, $10 a week, $20, $25 a month, whatever you can, start putting it into these investment accounts and forgetting about it. Set it on auto pay. Because in 18 years, when you have $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 that you weren't even thinking about, that's a huge motivating factor for me to bring home somebody worth of quality so that we can use that as our down payment for our house. So we can use that to pay off our student loan debt upon getting married and not carrying that into our marriage. That's a subtler form of quote unquote arranged, where listen, people can pick and choose who they want. I know who you can't marry. And I heard a mother that had her sons something set up with a trust where if they got a woman pregnant prior to marriage, they don't even get access to what's in the trust. Something like that. I've heard that. I think that's where parents need to go. And this whole, well, people ain't got enough money. Listen, y'all, I'm Black. I've lived in Philly. Everybody come up with money when it's time for what they want. When it's time to get them Jordans, people got the money. Game systems, hair are wrapped around the corner at 5 a.m. I seen you ladies out there. When y'all want to spend $400 for the bust downs, I know what's going on. So don't tell me that you can't put any money each month away to invest in giving your child a fighting chance. So Statistical Dollhouse, I'm gonna have to exchange some information in the private chat. Go ahead and post your email information so I can follow up with you for sure.
Will do.
And Grace, what's your thoughts about how it went, and what's your thoughts on how often it should probably go?
Thank you. So I just first wanted to say thank you, Sunny, for such a sweet comment. I really appreciate it. It's really nice to be on the panel and share the space with all of you ladies and Mr. Jeff. So I think the panel like this, I think once or twice a month is good. It's enough where it's not going to oversaturate the channel, but enough to get people thinking about, certain topics and maybe even want to articulate some thoughts they may have at the next live. So I think that's a really good, pace.
Yeah, bet. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm probably gonna do it bi-weekly. Just gotta look at my calendar, make sure nothing conflicts. If so, it'll be this day, this time. So I'll make sure to follow up with each of you. In fact, if I haven't, like Sunny, I don't think I have you on. So I don't know if you follow me, but DM me on social media. Make sure I have your info. And I want all of you back because I like how y'all think. It's not always about us agreeing, but it is about us coming to better knowledge and awareness about where the issue is and where we can progress. And like I said, my goal is visually. People need to see this. People need to see us being able to exchange ideas, respect each other, even in disagreements, and actually move in the right direction. And two, when y'all share it with your girlfriends and y'all see, maybe ladies will stop being so scared of me. Because I think a lot of people are scared. When people scared of the manosphere, red pill, and scared of all these guys. Reality is like, unless you're scared of the truth, you got no reason to not come on this platform, personally. So I'm excited for y'all. So listen, I'm gonna let y'all tap her out. I'm gonna read these super chats and then I'm gonna close things out because it's going on 2 hours. But thank y'all for coming through for this first ladies panel. And feel free to let other women know, or let me know other women that you think might be interested in this. Or send them this one so that they can see how it went and see if they would be interested in joining as well. Why don't each of you tell everybody where people can find and support you for those who are content creators? Statistical, you can start first.
Yes, I'll start first. My channel is Exotical Dollhouse. If you're easily offended, don't come around my channel. I'm going to let you have it. And I hope that you enjoy it. If you do, give me a follow. If not, keep it pushing.
All right, Exotical Dollhouse. I'm looking it up now. Let's see what's he about. Okay. What about you, Grace?
Yes, so I'm not a content creator, just an everyday girl. I hope I can say that on here, and I hope that's okay. It's not super glamorous, but yeah, this is my Instagram here. So if you want to follow me, I like to homemaking, all of these just like domestic things. I'm really into things like that, and yeah. So if you're interested, that's my Instagram, and yeah, have a good night.
Bet. No problem. And I just subscribed to you, Exotical. Sunny and then Chamonix.
Okay. I'm just starting in in the content creation space. So I just put up a couple of videos. My channel is Peanuts Gallery here on YouTube, and you can follow me also on Instagram at I think it's Peanut Gallery 28. I forgot. It's been a long day. But I think it's peanut_gallery 28 on Instagram, and I am on TikTok. So I'm trying to be more active. I try to get off of social media, and I'm drawing myself back in. And um, I have done just so far. My content has just been interviews that I've done. I am kind of trying to still figure it out, my voice a little bit. So, but please follow, like, subscribe, subscribe, do all that stuff. Give me your feedback and even some suggestions. I'm open. And, I thank you for opening up the panel for us to come up and speak. And like I said, I've been a long time follower. Love your content. And yeah, so yeah.
Bet. And last but certainly not least, Miss Monet, what's going on?
So I'm thinking about starting my own channel. So we'll just see.
Hold on, we ain't gonna skip over that. All the panel appearances, you finally joining the dark side. Okay.
So the next time around, maybe I'll be able to advertise something. Okay. Until then, sometimes I'm on Lapeef. If I'm still awake, I'm an early sleeper, y'all. I'm sorry.
Listen, man, shout out to Lapeef, man. He definitely brought me in very early for sure. Yeah. And like I said, I appreciate y'all genuinely. And for everybody that's currently watching, if you haven't done so, make sure that you like, make sure that you share, make sure that you subscribe to the people who currently or follow the people that you see on the screen. And make sure y'all show love by not only sharing it with other people, but hitting that hype button for sure and becoming a member. If you are not a member of the platform, what are you doing? So ladies, thank y'all absolutely. I'm gonna let y'all go and then read the final super chat. So thank y'all for our first ladies night. So y'all, I hope that everybody enjoyed that. I'm gonna go through these comments as I'm eating to see what y'all all think or at least thought. As far as super chat, Sylvia, what's going on? What's going on, girl? $5. Oh wow! Thank you to whomever just gifted me with the membership. I greatly appreciate it. That was absolutely more than likely Eric Lloyd. Again, just gotta show that again, man. With the $300 holla banger. Appreciate you for sure, man. And then we have Stephen M. Thank you for the $2. Jeff, hi from AJ Rans. What's going on, man? From the other side of the internet. What's going on, man? And shout out to everybody who's watched from AJ Rants. I think it was on there last week. It was a good time, man. If you haven't checked out his content, make sure you do. Darren Smith, another with the $2. Dr. Orion came up with a thing called obedience. Oh, I am going to check that out because I know he done pissed off that doctor, that psychologist that she's not a fan of his and has been critiquing him. So I know he's coming with this. This is hilarious. I can't wait to see what he says in that. Llewell Gellin, $10. Submission is a feminine trait. It is not masculine. If a man is submissive to a woman, he's suspect. No cap. More than likely, he was raised by a single mother, and that is a travesty in our community. Ouch. And then what else? He says, as for the panel, I think you should do this once a week, my G brother. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I don't think people realize how much when you don't have managers, when you don't have producers, it's literally just me planning all of this stuff 100% of the time and coordinating and connecting with folks. It's a lot. It's a lot of people I'm following up with, a lot in the interviews and the original content. So I'm going to start for now probably listen to the ladies maybe bi-weekly, maybe every other week. And then, if we get this up and running and more people volunteer, other people want to be a part of the channel or platform, we may make the opportunity or room for people to be able to have certain positions where maybe other people are moderating or handling it like some of the other panels do as well. But appreciate you for the $10 for sure. But I will keep that in mind if I can figure out a way to get my schedule where this becomes a lot more regular, because I actually enjoyed this and I have a feeling that many of you probably did as well. And then last but not least, Jeff St. James's loud voice. Please interview our brother O'Shea Duke Jackson. I have a question for y'all. I don't have his contact information. He's a little difficult to contact if you don't know him already. So one easy cheat code, for anybody that y'all think that I need to work with, reach out to them, DM them, put it in their comments, reply back to their replies on comments, and tell them to email me. My emails are posted everywhere, and that makes it very easy for me to then follow up with them once they connect with me or reach out. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you, Loud Voice, and everybody that watched and tuned in. And I hope that y'all genuinely enjoyed this first ladies' night panel discussion. And shout out to all the panelists that came through. And like I said, everybody is more than welcome. Feel free to bring the smoke, but not the disrespect. So have a good evening, everybody. And I'll see y'all on the other side in the men's table tomorrow. And I have a very dope interview that's coming up with somebody very, very soon that I think you all are absolutely going to love and appreciate pretty soon. So if you have not watched the ladies table from yesterday, make sure y'all watch and hype that. I think we were at about 5, close to 6,000 views. There's a lot more people that have watched those panels before. So make sure that y'all hype it so others can see it in the algorithm. And make sure y'all tune in tomorrow night, because tomorrow night for men's table, we're going to have the daily rap crew pulling up to join us to have this ongoing discussion about Big Tigger, crazy women in these domestic violence situations, and what the hell is going on in Black America. So see y'all on the other side, and have a good day and or evening. Deuces.